One of the greatest movie stars of all time, Clark Gable.
Now his 24-year-old grandson, also named Clark Gable, is making a name for himself in Hollywood. Acting, modeling, and hosting the reality show Cheaters. He's with us this morning. I mean, I see the similarities looking at the screen there and then looking back at you, Mr. Clark Gable. Do you think you look like your granddad?
To a certain extent, I could say the eyebrows maybe, but I didn't get the ears too much.
Yeah, you don't want the stash. Well, there he is. There he is without the stash. The stash really took his game a level up, though, didn't it?
Look at that right there.
You know, I can't even grow one yet, so it's kind of embarrassing, but that's okay.
You're 24 years old.
I am 24 years old.
Oh, you had your birthday last night?
Yes.
What'd you do?
I went to Universal Studios with my significant other and saved the world with the Transformers.
You did? That's
I
cool.
did. It was great. I hung out with some dinosaurs on Jurassic Park.
Outstanding.
And hung out on the back lot for a second with the rest of the people on the studio tour.
How fun.
Now,
It was really
significant
fun.
other, if you're like your granddad, is she really the significant other, or do you get to, make,
She's the one that I hold close to my heart at this moment.
He's hosting a show called Cheaters. You can't exactly. Is that it? There's a little irony right there because the legend of Clark Gable is so fantastic.
Yes.
He was the lumberjack in evening clothes. He made his career with a much older woman who was an acting coach, and then he moved to another woman. He loved to womanize and romance. When you look at that, you're like, Granddad, you got to tone it down, or is there great pride?
There's great pride, but then I'm just like, man, I mean, how am I supposed to stand up to someone twice as tall as me? I feel like I'm just trying to make my own way, not really aspire to be just like him, but, be myself, be me.
When did you know about your granddad? Like, when were you told, like, let me tell you about Clark Gable?
When I was a younger kid growing up, my dad had always told me a lot about him, but I never really knew the power of it until I went into school. I went up for my first award graduating out of, kindergarten, and all the parents would stand up when they'd hear Clark Gable, come up, get your award. And I'd, be wearing a little suit and tie. My mom would dress me up to look really nice, but I always didn't really understand why everyone would stand up and kind of look at me very funny. But
Did you ever want to be Chris Gable or Pete Gable or something?
I would use my middle name. I'd be like Clark James.
CJ.
Because we never really meet many Clarks. And whenever I meet a lot of people, it's like, oh, like Clark Kent. And I'm like, sure, yeah, that's fine. That works.
But do you like it now? Are you happy that
Yes, I love it.
Let me tell you something. I would like to roll with the name Clark Gable for a little while.
I would never even use my first name. It's just full Clark Gable every time. Like, Clark Gable, nice to meet you.
All right, the 13th season of Cheaters starts tomorrow. Check your local listings.
That show is wild.
How did you come to host Cheaters?
A series of very strange events. I met this gentleman from Texas, Bobby Goldstein, and I was working on a project with him, a reality show I wanted to do based on my family, and it was just an idea I had. So he, we've been working on developing this, and then long story short, he called me about 3 months ago and said he has a show that he syndicated. I knew it was Cheaters. I hadn't really watched the show. I didn't really know too much about it, but he asked me if I wanted to do a screen test. So I came down to Burbank, California, did a screen test, and about a week later, I got a phone call saying, hey, come to Dallas. We have this, we have an opportunity for you to host a show. So I went out there and didn't realize what I was getting myself into. But wow, have I learned a lot.
Is it fun?
Yeah.
Wiping scumbags off the street?
Yeah, it's great. It's
standing up for the ladies of the world who are getting cheated on?
Absolutely.
That's it, Clark. Happy birthday.
Clark Gable.
Thank you.
Woo! All fashion coming up.